The 16th of July 622 is the start date of the Islamic calendar, which coincided with the first new moon after the Prophet Muhammad and his followers migrated to Medina. The Islamic calendar begins with the Prophet's flight, as this is a key event in Islamic history for which all early followers could agree on a specified date.
Catholicism and Orthodoxy were the first to split from each other. The Great Schism occurred in 1054 AD. The Church split between the East and the West, following almost exactly the split between the Roman and Byzantine empires in circa 395 AD. The Patriarch, Michael I Cerularius, and Pope Leo IX had each other excommunicated. The centers of the two sects are the Western Rome and the Eastern Constantinople. The reasons for the split between the East and the West go back to tradition, both traditions with a big T and a little t.
The signing of the Residence Act on July 16, 1790, approved the creation of a capital district located along the Potomac River on the country's east coast. The U.S. Constitution provided for a federal district under the exclusive jurisdiction of the Congress, and the district is therefore not a part of any state. The states of Maryland and Virginia each donated land to form the federal district, which included the pre-existing settlements of Georgetown and Alexandria.
Named in honor of President George Washington, the city of Washington was founded in 1791 to serve as the new national capital.
In 1809, the struggle for independence from the Spanish rule brought uprisings against the royalist forces. It was on July 16, 1809 that Pedro Domingo Murillo famously said that the Bolivian Revolution was igniting a lamp that nobody would be able to turn off. This formally marked the beginning of the liberation of South America from Spain. In La Paz, simultaneously with the city of Sucre, was made the first revolution against the Spanish crown, the July 16, 1809. This event is known as the Primer Grito Libertario de America.
On the 7th of October 1910, John Duggan piloted the first Australian designed and built aircraft. It was based on the French Fairman pusher biplane. Almost all of the aircraft was made by the brothers.
The first parking meter was installed on an Oklahoma City street on July 16, 1935. It was invented by Carl McGee, a local attorney and newspaper editor. Traffic in downtown Oklahoma City had become a problem. A committee was formed to study what could be done to deal with it, and McGee's Parkometer was the solution. These newsreel scenes demonstrate how the strange new device was viewed by the public. The first parking meter on Main Street, Oklahoma City.
On July 16, 1945, the entire point of the Manhattan Project was on the line as a plutonium implosion device suspended 100 feet above the desert was exploded. Although the nuclear physicists on the project were reasonably confident of their calculations, no one knew for sure how big the blast would be, and whether or not the atmosphere would become part of the chain reaction, ending mankind. When the brilliant fireball and mighty blast went off, the equivalent of 20,000 tons of TNT, it left a 250 feet wide crater in the desert, with sand fused to glass. A mushroom cloud 7.5 miles high, and the blast could be felt 100 miles.
In 1969, NASA astronauts Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, and Michael Collins blasted off on their famous mission to land and walk on the moon. Apollo 11 launched from NASA's historic Launch Pad 39A at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. They rode to space on top of NASA's gigantic new Saturn V rocket. 4 days later, Neil Armstrong took one giant leap and became the first person to walk on the moon.